BGs, welcome to the BingeWorthy podcast, part of the Geekish Network. My name is Johnny Randolph, and I've got three illustrious co-hosts with me. My first co-host is Miss Courtney Scott Wright. Courtney, say hello to the people, ma'am.
Hello, hello.
And we got my next co-host. He is the new from the Ville, Rakai. Let the people know who you are, sir.
Hello, Governor.
And my last co-host, Chuck, man, tell everybody who you are, sir.
What it do, people? I'm back.
Where were you at? We just saw you.
I was about to say you were here last week.
I was in the B studio, and now I'm in the Binge.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Where did you go?
Wait, where'd you go?
Needs backgrounds and everything.
Multiverse. This is a Geekish Network multiverse.
I love it. And welcome to the BingeWorthy podcast. The premise of our show is that we will binge watch an entire series to let you know if you should. And also, if you're in the chat, feel free to comment and we will respond back to you. The way our show operates is at the beginning of it, we will rate it based on our unique binge-worthy scale. So now I'm going to reach out to my technical director, Rodney. Let me know, how did everybody rate American-Born Chinese? Let's see. All right, so
I'm waiting to see it.
we got a cringe-worthy. We got a full meal. We got a mini meal. Okay, so it's diverse, and we got another mini meal. Okay. So, all right, Okay, so that gives us a 2.75, and we'll round that up to a mini meal. All right, so guys, let's talk about this show, American-Born Chinese. And I'm going to start with you, Chuck. I'm going to start with you. So this series, it is on Disney Plus. It is based on a comic book, but this is not a Marvel show. It is a Disney Plus show. Who do you believe is the target audience for this series?
I want to first differentiate. This is on a graphic novel, which is a comic book.
They're comic books.
The traditional story put into
made up by the marketing department.
But there's a difference between graphic novel and comic book.
When they first came out, Go ahead.
Yeah. But it's based on the comic series. But there is just like Scott Pilgrim is based on a graphic novel. Well, this is a whole different thing. I think the audience for this, I don't know who the audience was. I think this was a plea to try to get the Asian market into Disney Plus. Yet they definitely whitewashed the show in order to do so with this. According from all the commentary I've read on this show, it took the teeth out of what this show really is and what this graphic novel is really about.
So they Disney-fied it. I think that's the word. Is that a word? Disney-fied it?
They Disney-fied it. And they try to make it marketable and palatable for everybody that has a Disney Plus subscription today, and not thinking about what Disney Plus should be and could be.
Okay, Courtney, I saw you raise your hand. You got any thoughts? So who the target
do.
audience is for?
Yeah, I think it was 8 to 12. I think the target audience was 8 to 12.
So yeah,
Because yeah, for like young and like things that families could watch together because they turned it into a light bright. Like if you think about it, like I know that the comic probably wasn't like dark and edgy like Lucifer or anything like that, but I also think that it probably wasn't quite as cookie cutter as this series turned out to be. It felt to me like something that was like Mighty Ducks worthy. You know what I mean? Like
it felt yeah.
it felt young. And it I don't think it was supposed to. Even the animation felt young. The costumes, like everything, felt like very cheeky. And I think with your first like fully led cast of Asian American actors, or you know what I mean, like the Asian community, I think that it wasn't as broad and hard hitting as it could have been or should have been.
So
Uh,
we're kind of transition. Oh, go ahead, Chuck.
I was gonna say it felt like they High School Musical did.
Yeah,
It was
it
all
was a
those.
light bright. It was a
Yeah,
light bright.
they lightened it up. So I'm gonna transition over to you, Rakrai. There's been rumors and people have been talking about discussions. Is there superhero fatigue? Is this series evidence of superhero fatigue, or maybe the potential that we're still engaged in the superhero genre?
No, because this is not about superheroes. I mean, this is Chinese mythology. Um, and I think kind of to the last point that was just brought, this show was pandering to it is almost disrespectful to the graphic novel that it came from. Um, it should have been taken on by someone else. And I understand that, you get a broader appeal if you do it for a younger audience, but this is like, okay, we want to do something in the vein of Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. But is Ang Lee available? No. Well, we'll just grab anybody to direct it. What about the budget? We're gonna do this on a 6-pack of beer budget. Oh, okay. You know, don't worry about showing this. I mean, it was like
But
camp.
it was an Asian director.
But it was campy. And not only that, for them to they dropped the entire series on one day, which since when has Disney done that?
I can speak to that.
And
According to Bob Iger, he said that he was going to do that for all of them. He wants to
no,
completely.
and I know that he did make that change when he came back on board. He's made a number of changes, but to drop the entire series, and I want to say, and I could be wrong, but I want to say that this was one of the first series that they dropped the entire series on the same day. It just happened to be May 24th, which was a week before the end of Asian American Pacific Heritage Month. I'm sure
I
that
think
had
they
nothing
dropped
to
some
do.
other ones, but is that a bad thing? I'm all right with them. Is that a
It
bad thing to
like I
drop
said,
them
I
all
felt
at once?
like it was pandering. It felt like it was all over the place. Like it just felt like, you had, and I understand like having different visions or different directions for each one of the episodes, but it just felt like it didn't have direction at all. It's just like, you know what? Let's try this. Hey, let's try this. Like this, it was almost done like a film school project instead of something that's supposed to have the backing of Disney and supposed to be a serious, cheeky take at this particular graphic novel. It seemed like somebody let their high school kid take a crack at it. Like, hey,
So
turning it, we'll give it a grade. You know.
yeah,
Okay, so
but
go ahead.
it did take try to take the first two stories because American Born Chinese is three different stories. They try to take the first story and the second story and mesh them together to get this first season out. Like the first season was about the Monkey King, and then the second one is more about a Jin. And the third season is supposed to be about Danny, who's another American-born Chinese kid. But it's supposed to talk about the dynamics of being an American-born Chinese person, having a lot of American traditions and customs and trying to fit in versus what goes on at home. They
And
really do a good job of that.
in the graphic novel, from my understanding, it's like Jen, didn't he go to a lot of different schools and faced like a lot of racism and bullying and things like that?
Yeah.
And it was dealing with like more of the family dynamics. And maybe they just tried to throw too much in there all together and it just didn't. Maybe it didn't work. So I'm gonna transition to Courtney. So from a writing perspective, you are a writer. What did you think about the quality of the writing for all 8 episodes of this?
I would say that the writing was very bland. I mean, I guess it was very, I guess bland is not the right word. Soft, because I think they were trying to make both the characters, the actors, and the story to be very non-scary to young children. Do you know what I mean? I think they made that as tame as humanly possible. And I think that did a disservice to the show. But I think that also I think the actors, the younger actors, especially Jin, just wasn't enigmatic. He wasn't engaging, and I didn't necessarily want to root for him. Honestly, my full meal was for the supernatural characters that came in to support, because I didn't care about Jin, because it didn't seem like Jin cared about his story. Does that make sense? Like, he was so blah. And I think the writers did him a disservice in not having him, A, figure something out, B, develop any kind of confidence or self-respect before the last episode, and then C, he was very self-centered. You know, he didn't really notice what was going on around him. And that's really hard as an audience member to really want to be invested in the success of this hero.
Yeah, and he really, I mean, he got powers, but he was still kind of the same character. He wanted to be,
he just wanted to be, he wanted to be,
yeah,
he wanted to conform.
he wanted to fit in.
He just wanted to be accepted. That's it.
Yeah. Yes.
And he
That,
didn't change.
And I needed more. I
that-
needed more.
that is the story of the graphic novel.
Is
Even
it?
that I have superpowers, and because I'm so culturally different, I want to shed all that, even though that knowing there's great things from that culture to become American. You know, I am the zero generation. I am
The zero generation? What it?
I'm the 0.5 generation that came into this country, and I want to be an American born Chinese person that actually fits in. I'm both American, both Chinese, and I'm not too keen on the Chinese side at all. So anything supernatural that's Chinese, I don't like it. But anything that's supernatural that's American, I love it.
So that's the story from the graphic novel.
That is the story.
That's the story of a lot of
Mhm.
immigrants from Asian culture.
Yeah.
It's kind of they're caught in between, and especially they're living with parents who are extremely respectful and really kind of adhere to the traditional ways from home.
Yeah.
And you have kids who are either born here or raised here who don't want that at all, and they're rebelling in a different way than we rebel from our parents, because they're, especially for African Americans who really don't have that culture, and we're kind of glomming onto a culture, finding our own culture, making
Finding
our
our
culture
own, yeah.
grow. And they are outright rebelling and rejecting their culture.
Yeah, and a lot of that comes from the parents, where the parents use the old ways to teach them to be overachievers and not show love the way they used to, where Americans show love, which makes them really tough. But also their parents are kind of benevolent to American culture. They're like America sucks, but this is the place we can get money.
But also, I think even from me, like in the Black community growing up, like kind of what you said, like we had our own individual things from like our family, which were culturally specific, like my family specifically, Southern. and had Southern things, but at the same time, we were infused with the American things too. Like we still had pizza on, and we still had all these other, you know what I mean, like super basic American meals. But then you go over to your friend's house, and their parents are like, the white friends, their parents are like super like chill and like, oh, we want to do this. Like, how can we help you? Like, you know what I mean? It looks different from the other side of the window. And therefore that image or that what you've come from your family, it just doesn't sit well. Does that make sense? And I think that they tried really hard to do that with this show, but they tried too hard on both sides, and there was no fusion within Jin for him to come to a realization of who he was. Yeah, he had a huge battle at the end, but that didn't answer any questions for me. Not from him. You know what I'm saying?
He didn't change. He was the same.
He didn't change.
But is this so? Chuck and Rick, I'm gonna turn to you guys because you all spoke eloquently about it. But is this an accurate depiction of a second generation Chinese person in America?
He's a first generation. He's number one. He's like,
I guess I figured second because his parents were here. First generation,
but they're not from here, so
okay. Right.
No ties to all this culture.
So okay, all right. So just first generation with parents that are immigrants, the first generation. So is this an accurate depiction then?
No. And that's what when I went to all my Asian American podcasts that I go to, and I talked to other Asian Americans I've seen and my friends, they were like, I don't like this show because they didn't dive into Jian feeling attacked for the food he brought to school. Like all my Asian friends have that day where they are attacked for the food they bring to school.
Now, could it have been because he was in high school? He was in the 10th grade. Maybe that event occurs earlier.
Year. Like they face this every year. So they find ways of not to get attacked, dumping the food or something like that to get rid of the food and trying to adapt. But that's their favorite food your mother has you bring, which could be like Chinese stinky egg. It's delicious, but it smells like chitlins, you know? And even in the process of making it, when you leave the house, you smell like it. It's a thing of chitlins.
Yeah, that would be bad.
So they didn't have that.
Yeah, but this wasn't that show. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying? Like if this were the Wonder Years with like, you know, the Asian Kevin, that's a completely different show. This is
not
Monkey
that.
King.
That's a perfect way to put it, Courtney. It should have been that show.
It should have been the Wonder Years, or should have been
Wonder Years. It should have been like the Wonder Years with mythical.
But that's not this show.
Yeah, I don't want to see that.
I mean, to your point, Chuck, I totally agree. The name, and even then, I haven't read the graphic novel, but it's misleading because American Born Chinese. You know what? I am expecting the Wonder Years. I am expecting like fresh off the boat. I am expecting that because you know, but this is a Monkey King.
Yeah, the Monkey King's in it. In the American Born Chinese, the actual graphic novel, the Monkey King is in it throughout the whole entire thing.
Yeah, he is. He's born from a rock, right?
Yeah. So this is what makes Jin powerful and Danny powerful in this series is because they have the lore of Monkey King and they have the power of the Monkey King behind them.
Okay. He acts like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
But they don't want that. They're like, look, everything that came from China in America is bad for me because I get ridiculed for everything that came from home.
We kind of just got like a foundation problem, like a mix up on what we were trying to do.
And I think that's part of the problem, and that's what I was saying about the lack of direction, because it's like when they could have went down certain avenues, it's almost like they shied away from it. Like you know, just like you said, to the point of bullying. You know, he only really dealt with that once, where they put him in the trash can and pushed him into the you know, it was accidental. They pushed him into the trophy case, whatever. And then they, you know, took the video of it and he thought it was the wrong dude. Like, it's like, it never really dealt with any avenue the way it should have dealt with it to Courtney's point, for us to care. I didn't care. Like, Jin, he did come off as blah. Like, he didn't have any charisma, and I I didn't care about his story as that. Matter of fact, give me more of Sun Wukong, and I love Daniel Wu as an actor ever since I saw him in uh what was that show? See, it's
Into the
just
Badlands.
yes. It's ever since I've seen him on there, like I'm a fan of that dude. Michelle Yeoh does no wrong,
I
you know.
mean,
And
she's the goddess mother.
Leonard Wu, who played Mo Wang, like I thought he was great. Like I thought that, and Courtney said it earlier, the supernatural characters are the only reason I even got to Mini Meal, because I mean, and even I did like Wukong's son, Wei Chen,
Mm-hmm.
but he seemed kind of on the fence too, and it was like his interactions with Jin kind of watered him down. It's just
That's not his fault. I agree. I thought he would have been charming had he had an accurate tennis player to bat scenes off of, in terms of acting,
I think
way to put it too.
I think Jim was just dislikable. I didn't like him at all. Like, you're an asshole to treat this brand new kid like this. I understood they want you to shed they had to have you prove that you don't like anything Chinese, but they shouldn't have just done it with this character. They should have did it with every character you interacted with in high school. It's like you're kind of benevolent to most of the white characters, except the one you think recorded you, and you kicked him in his chest during the soccer tryout, which I
and it
thought
wasn't even him.
wasn't even him.
Yeah, but I don't know. I get that. Because Jin, right? He's one of the few Chinese students in this school. Okay, so he's the only one. So you get a student that's Chinese, and the principal comes and tell you, "Oh, you need to show him around." And I mean, not every kid is built to do that. It's like if you're the only black student in the school, and
that school was all racist. The principal was ridiculous.
Yeah.
But
so I could get Jin.
I think that was over exaggerated on purpose.
But that's how it is in the graphic novel.
Yeah.
It's like, this is what happens to us when we're thrusted into the American school system,
right?
And we have this culture weighing on us, and this culture tells us we have to perform even in the sight of our enemy. It's kind of going into school after segregation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So that's why I didn't blame him for that.
Yeah, and actually, as ridiculous as that scene is not ridiculous, because it actually happens every day,
100%.
especially when he's an immigrant, but he's living in the district, or somehow he goes to this high performing school, and actually it's funny because a lot of the high performing schools, they do have diversity to a thing, and they're so racist. They love Asian students, but not for their culture. They love Asian students for what they'll do on the test, come the end of the year, because that grades a school. It's very much like that. So he was Chinese. The girl who was leading the protest, she was Japanese, and then his best friend that he kind of kicked to the curb, he was from somewhere else as
Indian,
well.
I think.
I thought it was
or Pakistani.
Yeah.
Courtney was going to say something. Go ahead, Courtney.
Oh, I mean, the only thing I was gonna say was, in terms of Jin, they almost made it seem like he didn't want to be Chinese, or that he at least wanted to just not be noticed for that. Do you know what I mean? And I think that needed clarification towards the middle to the end of the series, because not that I needed him to like address his devout feelings for his community. I needed a change within him to understand how great it is to have a community. That, and then in terms of, I think, like what Rakai was saying about Jin, there has been this trend for like the last 5 to 10 years that is really about promoting younger actors who are emotionally devoid. Like, nobody has any feelings. They just, or at least they don't show it. Not overtly. I don't need you like screaming and jumping up and down and like moving your face all extra. But there are so many things, like Jenna Ortega in Wednesday, she conveyed so much emotion with so little. Do you know what I mean? And I just think that is a misconception, that we're allowing people actors to just skate by with not doing anything, to show that something bothers you. It's not enough to have like an eye twitch. That's not enough, and I think we're sending that message to the youth of today, because a lot of them don't want to have emotion. They don't want to emote. They don't want people to know that they have feelings, and they don't want to share it. You know what I mean? Like, it's just weird. And I don't get behind the lack of
Let's
face.
talk about these actors, right? So I'm gonna start with you, Chuck. What you think with the cast and overall quality of the actors?
I thought the casting fit. I thought the writing was poorly done. I mean, because Jin is supposed to reject his Chinese culture, and Wu Chang is Taiwanese.
Yeah,
and Chinese and
they
Taiwan,
changed it.
that is very different. And Jin ends up dating Suzy Nakamura.
Because wasn't the little girl who he was liking, wasn't she half Japanese or something?
Suzy Nakamura is full Japanese.
Oh, that's the other girl? The girl that liked his other friend.
Yeah, that liked his other friend.
I thought the girl he liked was actually biracial.
Amelia's white.
Jin is Taiwanese. They changed them to Chinese.
They changed them to Chinese to fit this new modern storyline.
Yeah.
And it was like they should have kept him at Taiwanese, and here's this kid that's Chinese who's like, my family's from the mainland, and you're Taiwanese. We're definitely different type of people.
Mm-hmm.
We're definitely different type of people, and they become best friends. The actual graphic novel is about them becoming best friends because both of them got ostracized for being Asian. And you don't. I didn't feel like they're none of this storyline. That
you're talking about Wu Chen, who was the Monkey King's son.
Monkey King's son.
He's Chinese, and then the Jin character was Taiwanese.
Jin is Chinese. Wu Chang, the Monkey King's son, is Taiwanese.
But in the graphic novel, it's reversed.
No, this is what it's supposed to be in the graphic novel. But in the series, they're both Chinese.
Oh, okay.
They're both Chinese. And what made them bond together was both of them would get ostracized for being Asian in this school.
Of course they would, because this school is
Nakamura, who's Japanese. She ends up dating the Taiwanese character Wu Chang in the graphic novel.
Yeah, and because that school is super racist, but I mean, it's America,
and everybody talks to them like they're the same person.
Right? They probably call them the same name.
Yes, exactly. People confused Jin and Wu Chang.
Yeah, they probably calling them Jin and Wu Chang all the time. Yeah. So, Rakai, man, what did you this is an action series. What did you think about the choreography, the fight scenes for the series?
I just the more I think about this, my rating is slipping by the moment. Because like everything we just talked about, I don't know why, but just for a second, it just pissed me off. Because I was just thinking about that, like, and you're absolutely right. Like, why would they change him from being Taiwanese to being Chinese? And that's because the racist, who the hell is writing this? Who is in the room? Because they don't see it as being any different. They don't see it, and they're probably, it's kind of like, let's do a Karate Kid movie, but hey, we're going to move him to China where he does Kung Fu. No one knows the damn difference. It's the same
Asian
thing.
director, right? Wasn't the showrunner an Asian?
He was, but this is what I'm learning about being in the writing room. It's not always the creator's call anymore. It comes down to what is decided, from the network, they say, hey, let's change this to be this, because we think it'll be easier to understand, this for like all audiences. So you don't have anybody to feel left out for some reason, or we don't want anybody to question, why is this person this, or you know what I mean? They're trying to avoid all these baskets that somebody may complain in, and therefore it trickles down and the writers adapt.
Because they want to keep their jobs. Absolutely.
Yeah, no, and I get it, and you're absolutely right. And I think, and Disney has often been depicted as, the evil empire that does that to stuff, and no one knows better than a Star Wars fan, and people just up in arms about when Disney took over Star Wars. So I get it. But
Right.
this, I just think was egregious. And I just think that they and I think Chuck, you said earlier something about, from the graphic novel to this, they took all the teeth out of this. And I think the sad thing is that this had so much potential to be good. It's almost like they're like, hey, let's hand it over to M. Night Shyamalan and have him take something that's perfect already and make some shit out of it. It's,
He's forever going to be that example.
Yeah,
oh,
I mean, he's forever going to be on.
yeah.
Yeah.
So Chuck,
I'm Asian. I know. Oh my.
so Chuck, man, what'd you think about the special effects?
As cheesy as some of them are, they were okay. They weren't quite Willow grade because Willow had great special effects.
Oh Lord, back to the what was the word he used? What did he use? Virtual production. I think it was virtual production.
Virtual production. This is all practical, right? This I thought it was okay. I actually enjoyed the fighting scenes. I enjoyed some parts of the story. Like I think that episode where it showed the Monkey King
The flashback.
when they get a flash, that episode was perfect. It was
It was really good episode.
It was the best episode.
It was really good.
Like classic Chinese theater in the 70s that would have made it on USA television. We would have all watched it and been like, oh my God, this is so amazing.
And if it had been, because the look of it, look of the film was grainy like it was in the 70s. And I was like, if it had been in the 70s, it would have been perfect.
Perfect.
But that whole episode had direction, and you could clearly understand it, even for them to stay in the vein of where the entire episode was spoken in a foreign language. Like that was a great episode.
That's the show that I wanted. Like I wanted those type. I wanted to learn more about Chinese, not necessarily learn more about it, but be more involved with the mythology, the powers.
Yeah, I wanted to explore
those
that.
things. And so I don't know.
It doesn't go heavy in that in the graphic novel.
It doesn't.
No.
That's what I was expecting though.
Yeah,
like I felt like that's how it was promoted.
Yeah.
I think it was. I agree with you.
It was. It like, for example, Greg is the captain of the soccer team. Greg actually comes to Jen. So Amelia falls for Jen early on in the story, apparently. And Greg comes to Jen and says, you shouldn't date her. And Jen figures out the reason Greg doesn't think he should date her is because this pretty white girl shouldn't be seen with a Chinese person.
Oh, yeah.
That makes her look ugly.
So
and they showed none of that. They showed none of that. Instead, it was Greg pulling down the video, getting him on the team, selling out everybody to get on the team to protect Greg. It was like, this is some bullshit.
Maybe was this a bad decision to do this show? Because it was, or do it on Disney? Because it seems like this material was a lot more heavier than Disney wanted to deal with. And so they tried to sell it as like it's magical, but then you see it and then they take all the fangs out of it and it was just like all over the place. At least that's how I'm getting.
Look at Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Where did that go? It was like, we're trying to do this heavy hitting subject matter with kid gloves and a plastic shield. You know what I mean? Like you can't.
Yeah, but at least it was cinematic. At least it was cinematic, right? And my thing is like, we got Michelle Yeoh fixing goddamn tables. Like she's supposed to be a damn goddess. Yeah, she's supposed to be a goddamn goddess that calms ocean and surmounts mountains. And she's like, "Oh, I'm fixing IKEA." I'm like, we got Michelle Yeoh and this
fun.
This is what y'all giving
Here's the thing, she was funny. No matter what role you put her in, whether she got sausage fingers or whether she's putting together an IKEA table,
I don't need that.
Hilarious.
I need Michelle Yeoh to be Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah, like even if you give us one low episode where she's making IKEA furniture, and the next one be like, okay, it's on now. We're gonna get something. Yeah. No, even in the little fight that she had in the apartment, what'd she do? Sit down and make a grilled cheese sandwich for Jen after that? It's like, what the
yeah.
But she was the goddess of calm. Like she literally was supposed to be peaceful.
They supposed to be fixing our kids.
She can whoop ass peacefully.
Yeah, I need Michelle Yeoh, and she can be different, but I need her to be her. I need Michelle Yeoh to be Michelle Yeoh, and I was just like, nah.
What? She's. I agree with Courtney. She is the gossip calm. She played it very well. Like
She was funny. It was, I think, like I said, artists want to branch out. She doesn't want to just be the martial arts.
She didn't have to be the martial
maven.
arts.
She doesn't want to be
But here's the thing: it's almost like they nerfed the people. Okay, so you nerfed Michelle Yeoh. She's the goddess of calm. She don't do no fighting. She does one half-ass, ballet thing.
That's what they did in Shang-Chi. She didn't do anything in Shang-Chi.
You nerfed Daniel Wu too. He's damn Sun Wukong. Like, shit, give me Luffy or something. Like,
yeah,
well, I can't speak to that one.
I want to see Daniel Wu with some ass in it.
I mean, hands down, still that pilot episode of Into the Badlands, that pilot episode is hands down one of the best pilots I still have ever seen.
Yes. And I was just like,
waiting on his eyes to turn black and him.
I remember where I was when the pilot came out.
Yeah,
Lord.
Even Wu Kong, his episode, his scenes were the things that had teeth in it, and it was so meta. Like, we had this show that blew up because he plays a stereotypical Asian character, and then we're going to explain halfway through the show on why we should not be accepting of this type of character in the show that kind of accepts that type of character.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I'm glad he got work. I'm glad he was there. I'm glad that moment happened. But it felt like that didn't belong in this show.
It was too much.
And then that's what they
what used. Sorry, can you repeat that? What didn't belong in the show?
Wu Kwang's what's wrong with
theory? That? Yeah, what's wrong with that?
Oh my god. Yeah, that didn't belong in it at all. Was that from the comic book?
And no, that it is in the comic book, kinda, but it's not like so heavy in the comic book. Apparently, I haven't read all the comic book, but this is what's in it. But I think the issue is, like, Jen hates that. We know Jen hates that, the stereotype that you put on Asians to make them the help, the comic relief all the time. And I'm not that kid. I'm the kid that whooped somebody's ass. Like, Jen has always been the kid that whooped somebody's ass.
Was he?
See, that didn't come across.
In the comics?
Yeah.
Like, okay, because not in this show.
Okay, the comic. I
was like, not in this show.
Yeah, right. I didn't get that.
He's angry and has so much angst in, he's willing to fight anyway.
Yeah.
Even if I get my ass kicked, you're gonna lose a couple of teeth when I do it.
Which I'm fine with that. Yeah, but we didn't get that. We didn't get that in this show.
This show definitely gave him a strong case of bitch assness.
Yeah, and he's trying not to be that kid. He's trying to fit in. I'm trying to fit in, but I will fight you if I have to. It's the immigrant paradigm where I have to be the model minority that these Asian Americans, the other Asian Americans want us to be in order to fit in to get ahead. But yeah, I want to be who I really am.
I think every minority, like, I won't say every, but a lot of minority, especially Black, we go through that. Like, you go to better schools and things like that. You just can't go in there beating people's ass.
Different though, because they're tied to 1,000 years of tradition. We don't have that. All that shit got erased when they brought us off the boat.
Yeah, but there are schools like there's been shows and movies and in real life, like you go to elite private schools and things. Your parents tell you, like, careful what you do. Do the right thing. You can't go in there fighting. Like, that's a part of being a.
But they're raised in their society. Teachers are never wrong. So if you come back, we're gonna whoop that ass.
Not only that, there's a distinct difference between how Asian students are treated in any of those places and how we're treated in those places. Hell, we're guilty from the minute we walk in the door. Let something come up missing in that thing. Shit, they're searching your damn locker. Let a fight break out. They don't care who started what. They don't care who did it. You're guilty. You're suspended. They don't want to hear your damn excuse. We're guilty until proven innocent. It's a whole different thing. Hell, that boy, got into it. They called his parents. They had to talk about it. Shit, let that been us. We already suspended.
Yeah.
Expelled, and they're keeping your tuition money.
Okay.
That's why our parents You know what I'm saying?
I'm
Tell
not
us, don't
getting
go
into
back
an
to
argument about
this.
the root of it. I'm just saying it's a part of expectations or realities for minorities in America. I'm not trying to
My
Yeah.
parents never assumed the teacher was always right.
do that.
Like,
What's that?
like if like for example, my mom told me if somebody hits me, I hit them back.
Yeah, I mean, but not every. It's not. That's not always been the case.
Yeah, but in the Asian household, they're told not to hit anybody back. And even if you hit somebody back in defense, you're making us all look bad. And I need you to succeed and get along with these people that are attacking you. I need you to get along with them. And in your gut, you're trying to become one of them because they told you need to become. You don't need to be one of us anymore. You need to become one of them. But you need to hold on to everything that's about us.
I mean, Martin Luther King literally said that.
You know,
Mm.
but Martin Luther King is not in my family. Martin Luther King is not my mother.
What I'm saying is like those were like, you see those girls in Arkansas, that was literally what they were told, and that's what they had to do. Hell, Jackie Robinson had to do that in his goddamn sports, like he was told he could not respond. Like, I mean, these are rules that have been established.
They are very similar, but they're not.
I didn't say they were same. I just said they're similar
They are
as in
very similar.
minorities across. Okay, so did anybody have anything that they did like that stood out to them?
I think his cosplay friend was amazing. I thought
Yeah.
Yes.
and was
His
Yeah.
best friend was aces for me. Like he stole the show. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed his subtleties worked. And when he was mad at Jen, you knew he was mad at Jen and you knew why. Like he was such a clear, crafted character, and I really liked him a lot.
Anaj.
Anaj.
Anu.
Yeah, I really liked him. I like the parents. I really like that the dynamic between the two parents and how, their marriage was falling apart just because they were, the mother really wanted to be ambitious and she followed her traditional role, which is what everybody, like that's what everybody's kind of trying to pass down. But she's trying to break out just like Jen is trying to break out.
Yeah.
And the dad really just wants to kind of just exist. He's trying to do his best, but in his own way.
He's like,
But I think too,
here, and you telling me I should ask for promotion, that can get me fired.
And I got a family to support.
I got a family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I think too, that's also part of, the same way that Jen being Generation Zero and fell into the Western culture, the American ways, that the mother, even though she's part of the older culture, that was her falling into the American ways too. She had realized her own ambition and like, we don't have to do things the way that we did it. We got here. We wanted the American dream. We came here for the American dream. Well, shit, we can have it too. It don't have to just be Jen. Like, she wanted her husband to be more ambitious and get the things that he deserved if he would just open his mouth and ask for them.
But
And
she wanted him.
tired of
Well, she
waiting.
wanted it done her way too. She didn't give him a chance to even figure out his way.
I think she wanted him to be the person he was before they came to America, because she deliberately says that, like, when we first got here, this is who you were. You were going to do this. And I think him, and I'm just talking, I don't have anything to back it up. He feels like now I have a family to support. So all those risks that I used to take, either it's true or not, I just can't take them anymore. So like, I'm consistent, I'm hardworking, and this is the way I'm going to support this family. I'm not saying it is right, but I feel like that was his interpretation of it.
Well, that's part of the American story too. It's you know what I'm saying, just, and I don't think it was so much him. It's just like, if you're a dreamer and then you fall into a place of complacency, it makes it easy for them to grow apart. That's just American culture.
Because she
in the land of hope, the land of dreams that they allegedly say that America is. And hell, if anybody can get the dream, the American dream, shit, it's every culture but us.
But she said a really interesting thing. She said, if you just wanted to work hard, we could have stayed in China.
Stayed in China. Yeah.
He did. I thought that was pretty true fact.
That was.
It was.
Their interaction, the parents' interaction, I thought was very true to
what they're the only ones who showed up to play.
It was
the adults showed up to play.
Spent the money.
Okay.
Savings. We'll figure it out. Well, I'll just leave my job and find something else so I can do this. And she's like, no, I took the savings that we had, like half of it.
You should have told him that.
She should have told him that. You can't just be taking money that is like supposed to be for the family set aside, and you went and bought your like magic powder. But like, there was one scene that I thought was the only time that Jin kind of woke up, and I felt him on that, is when Wu Chen took the family heirloom necklace.
Yeah.
Didn't want to give it back.
Didn't want to give it.
I was like, bruh, are you kidding me? I brought you into my house. This is my mama and daddy's like history. And you gonna take it? Yeah, and then old girl feeds it to a dog? That's my family.
Yeah.
And I still needed more. That's your family. I needed you to rise up and whoop his ass. Even if you was gonna get beat. You was gonna get beat. Okay, you were, but at least you tried.
An L. Mm-hmm.
I need you to try. I need you to come out with a black eye so you know you tried.
Yeah, I thought so too.
I was pissed.
Get in the chest on the soccer field during tryouts. I expect you to whoop this was the guy that you
to try.
Yeah, I need you to whoop his ass. But like, you're not gonna give it back. Now y'all gotta fight. He gotta hit you, knock you to the ground like the Monkey King.
Yeah. And I mean, the Monkey King, like that whole scene was so reminiscent. The flashback scene was so reminiscent of Jin and Wu Chen, which is everything that like was happening. It's like the what was it? The buffalo, the devil buffalo, or whatever he was.
The demon bull.
Demon bull. I was so close. The demon bull. He was Jin, and like, what'd you say?
Made me want some teriyaki wings from BW3.
He was Jin, and then Wu Chen was his dad. It was so the same that it was irritating. I kind of wasn't mad at the Buffalo dude, although you know, but maybe it was your fault for bringing this guy. Nobody told you to bring him.
Yeah, well, maybe point to show the parallels.
Yeah. No, but I mean, he didn't. You know, like he didn't amount to what he thought he was going to do.
Like he should have been. Like he like the bull demon should have been the one chosen. He's the guy that followed the rules, followed the order, and he knew that his best friend, the Monkey King, was an asshole and did whatever the fuck he wanted to do.
Didn't even want to wear shoes. Yeah, nothing.
This is who he was. The Monkey King's always been mischievous. He's always been Loki in this motherfucker. And you take him to the party. You take him to the
hey, be careful your friends, man. You know,
he gets chosen.
Right. Hey, that's happening in a lot of things.
Because he's wild enough to call him out for it. Like, you nothing but the damn fish. You ain't a real dragon. Oh, we know all that shit's fake.
Did y'all think that Jin believed Wu Chen?
No, not initially.
You know, when Wu Chen came out and told him who he was and everything, do you?
Right. He didn't register.
I didn't get any sense that he believed him whatsoever.
He just said, okay.
Because he can't act.
Like the last episode.
Because he can't act. You're asking for too much. You're asking for him to have a profound realization,
right,
and or defiance of you're not a god. Yeah. You know what I mean? You're looking for that, and it wasn't there for him.
It wasn't there. Whereas contrast against Anuj, when Anuj first found out, he was like, yeah, you know, he was all aboard. And his facial expressions did convey that, or his actions did convey what he was trying to demonstrate. With Jin, he was like, I don't know.
It's like I'm looking at him like, I don't know how you got the job. Nobody else must have auditioned.
Yeah.
No one else auditioned. Like, or you are a friend of somebody's friend.
I was about to say,
I never thought that he believed him, but even in that, his nonchalant attitude towards it also just bothered me, because I was like, I don't even believe you. Don't believe it. Like,
I didn't believe he was the fourth scroll. Even when they said it, he was just like,
I know. I knew it was him from the very beginning, but I was like, maybe somebody else. Maybe he has a secret.
I only wanted to believe it because I was hoping they'd have to cut his ass.
His reaction was like, yeah, I'm it. Chuck, I know you've been trying to jump in here. Go ahead.
Yeah, my thing was he didn't sell Jin. Like, Jin was so busy trying to be angst and anger that he missed the point of being that role. Like, we need you to be angsty. And it may not be him. It may be the direction of the director. Yeah. We need you to show no emotion, to be that Asian kid, to be the Asian kid that Asian kids you normally are when they feel like they're isolated away from the world. And I think he got caught up in being that, where I can't be emotional. I like the girl, but I'm not supposed to approach the girl. I'm not supposed to say anything to the girl. And I don't have that emotional value because I was never taught in my household to show emotions. I'm from a household that doesn't say they love them. They don't say we love each other. Matter of fact, my mother says, you know what, how my mother says she loves me? Do better. Do better. That's their expression of love, is do better. Why?
All right.
Like you so for him, I think he got called into what that is, and then somebody came in from Disney and said, yo, we can't have you be the fucking Dark Knight over here. We be Zac Efron from High School Musical, and
But
he
he-
was really confused about who
right. So you didn't know who to be. So poor direction. To Rakai's earlier point, poor direction. He was getting pulled in all kind of different directions.
He Robert
See,
Pattinson.
I don't think he was. I think they cast him to be just as blah as
He
he
was at home like, damn it, I've been practicing my voice where it sounds like I've been eating gravel.
In fact, they probably told him do less, do less, do less, do
Yeah,
less
right.
until there was nothing.
So there was no. I agree with Courtney. They
He
want.
probably is a really good actor.
They're like, we want you to have the Asian angst, but we want you in a Zac Efron type of way.
But we
And
want you to be
Because
unnoticeable.
we can market you that way, right? As a Chinese sex symbol, right?
Yes, to be we don't want mothers to be worried about their young daughters. We want them to think that you're just kind of okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Even in coming across like that, like the little girl that he start liking him, like that shit was non-believable.
mm,
Just
All right, guys, let's go ahead and re-rate
I
this.
can believe Amelia liking
I
him,
could believe she liked him.
him not knowing what to do with it. Like he didn't know what to do with it. But this,
I gave him points for even asking. You know,
yeah,
that was big.
apparently Amelia makes the moves on him. Like she's like, yo, what's up? I like you. You're the oddball kid. I'm kind of oddball internally. Sure, I'm the hot girl, but I'm really oddball. People
Towards the end, she does do that. She
Does.
literally, she does do that towards the end.
So,
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I think this show would have done well on Netflix, Hulu.
my only thing is, I think on Netflix, would it have went
Who still
too
Disney?
far the other way? Like, would the pendulum have swung too far the other way?
I don't know.
More of that. I would have rather had more going the other way than this direction that we
In
had.
the High School Music.
I think it definitely could have been better. High School Musical. I don't think it would have been Wednesday, but I think it
It would have stopped in front of Wednesday. I think Wednesday has a quirkiness about it that this wouldn't have had, and this needed that quirky, that odd, Asian American quirkiness. Where I know my home culture is different than my public culture, and I belong in both of those worlds. And I'm getting these mixed messages the whole entire time. And
I
it's
have a question. This is for all of you guys. So when you rated this show, did you rate it based on what you saw, what you wanted, or what it could have been in the graphic novel?
I
That's
rated what I
very
saw.
good question. I based it on.
Because I didn't read the graphical novel, so I don't know much about it.
I actually started off as a full meal. I was like, I'm gonna give it a full meal. This is worthy of a full meal. Something on Disney. I watched a lot of shit on Disney, you guys. Y'all be surprised how
Same. So I rated it based on Disney scale.
Disney scale. I did.
I rated it based on Disney scale and not. I'm thinking I rated it wrong because you guys also rated it. Why did you change your from full meal to mini meal?
I got influenced by other reviewers of this show. I wanted to know what the Asian American community thought and what Asian viewers that were first generation thought of this show. So I went to the internet and went into the comments section.
Ooh, did you now?
Yes.
So I didn't rate it. I didn't rate it based on Disney. I rated it based on what I saw and what I thought I was going to get out of this show. Like, I I did not finish the graphic novels. I started them, but they went on my shelf, and I just never went back around to finish them. So I was familiar with the story, but not fully cognizant of the story. Um, and I felt like what I got was just a jumbled mess. I was like you guys, I wanted it to succeed, and I thought that it had great potential. And I thought if it wasn't for Anuj and what little bit, I mean, it's just like if you say, I mean, which that movie was too long. I mean, but it's like, okay, I hated the Phantom Menace, but I love Darth Maul. I didn't like most of this, but I did like Michelle Yeoh, what little bit they gave me. I like Daniel Wu, the supernatural aspects, the Chinese mythology aspects. I like that. And I thought that we could have got more of that. And I just, it's almost like when you get a show and, they deal in one area and that's great. And then, you know, Thor, they dealt in Asgard, all that stuff was great. Then they came back to Earth, it's terrible. What are we doing? So but I honestly think I gave it a mini meal. I think that was based more on hope and after I always felt like it was a little bit too high, and yeah, I feel like I was right. That was too high.
I think
Okay. Now this is gonna help me. Thank you, because it's gonna help me with my rating, because I did not rate it from that perspective. I rated it from kid show Disney
Well, that
perspective.
is fine. I do that for shows. I mean,
But I don't think I was supposed to. I guess that's where I'm at. Like I didn't realize. No. I didn't realize. I've never read the graphic novel, and I didn't know what was missing, and that the series had basically been gutted. And what we got was a light bright version of a mythical cultural experience from the Asian community, and I think they deserved more.
And I have rated shows based on the network. Like when we watched, was it Kung Fu? It was a CW show, and I'm like, it's not good, but it's in line with what CW does. So like, I gave it like a 4 mil or something like that, because that is what I expect. So I've done that before. It's just this didn't resonate with me.
And you're right, and I understand that completely, Randy. Like I've rated shows probably more favorably than I would, because I understand that me being who I am, I'm not the target demographic. So I was like, okay, if I put myself in that mind space, and this is shooting for, the preteen market, or then I was like, okay, if I was that age, would I like the show? Would I like what was presented? So I get that. I don't know who this show was for, because it seemed like it was all it like it. It's almost like they try too hard to. We want to be for everybody and end up being for nobody. Like it's.
I'm fortunate because of Ing, right? So being with Ing for so long and being in that family and listening to the stories, they would tell me what it was like for them to grow up, even in Southern California as an immigrant family, and in being surrounded by their own community, how difficult it was for them. It made me think, and my spidey sense went off. Like, would she have liked this show? And my feeling was that she probably wouldn't like it as much. And I was like, maybe that's just me overemphasizing the respect that I should give to the Asian community. So I dropped my score down just because when I went to go see what some of the Asian community was saying, they're glad it was made. It was a good first step, but they're mad because they think a lot of the teeth that Gene put into his graphic novel was pulled out of what it's like being Asian American in this culture. And I felt like that did not resonate at all through the show.
I get that.
Got none of that story of what it's like being Asian, then being Asian American in an American culture.
I get that.
And it didn't come through. It's like if somebody did a show with black characters,
like with Isis and Horus, or
like what was the Jamie Foxx cartoon Pixar show? Soul?
Like, oh God, we don't talk about Soul. I'm sorry, I didn't like Soul.
That's what I'm saying. It was white people with black characters. Like, they didn't quite get it.
Yeah. So it's really interesting how this came out, and I was like, well, I want to be representative of my Asian brothers and sisters in this as well. and not be blind with my blackness and say, oh, this was good enough. This is a good first step for them, because I want them to say the same thing about me.
Yeah.
Or
Soul wasn't a good step.
like I did
Because
like
the problem,
I did like Clay Kwan's parts in this show. I loved him. I loved seeing him. I loved seeing the whole entire class of everything, everywhere, all at once. Every time they popped up on the screen, I was like, yeah.
Or black
oh
shows.
right, because she was the jury.
Mm-hmm.
She was the jury.
Let's
Yeah,
rewrite this thing,
yeah,
guys.
with Hee Kwan, I only liked when he
I just
did
didn't understand his role.
reunion. I only like when he did their little reunion show and he told the story. Like I like that part, but the rest of that shit, they keep it.
Oh,
Yeah.
all right. Chuck, how you gonna rewrite this thing, man?
I'm gonna come up to the Disney scale. I'm gonna put it on the Disney scale. I'm gonna give it. I'm going from a mini meal to a full meal, because I kind of do want to. I do want to see a season 2. I want to see what they do with it, and are they going to introduce Danny? And with the feedback they received from this show, are they going to put the teeth back into it?
Okay. All right, Rakai, how you gonna rewrite it?
I think everything you just said is beautiful, and I'm hopeful that any of that happens. And I suppose I will watch a season 2 just to see if it gets any better. But right now, I'm gonna drop my score to a snack. I wish like Courtney. I wish I had some Cheetos or some Funyuns, or I don't even like nothing, but I would have that bullshit because
Cheeto fingers.
yeah, they need some bullshit. Like
God it's Disney's fault. It really is Disney's fault.
So
I don't know whose fault it is, but somebody need their ass whooped.
I gave it a cringeworthy because by episode 8, I was just done. So I was like, Lord.
Was there that many episodes? How many episodes?
It was 8. It was 8. And I was just like, when is this going to end? When is this whack ass football fight scene or soccer scene? When is it going to end?
That like the principal was like, just let him go.
I was like, well, Lord, let it be over. So I kept hitting like, how many minutes do I have? But
Never. Yeah, I need Miss Davis to take that shit off the air. Like,
right, that's like, when is the algorithm? I never prayed for my Wi-Fi to shut down, but I was like, let it shut down. Guys, I couldn't finish. My Wi-Fi shut down. But after the conversation, it was still pretty goddamn bad, but it wasn't necessarily cringeworthy. So I'm gonna bring it up to a snack. Courtney, how you gonna re-rate it?
Okay, so I think I can't stay at the Disney level because I was grading on a curve. And I was trying to be nice because I was like, oh, they're going to be nice. They really liked it, I'm sure. And I didn't love it. I kept watching it because like every single episode, I was like, the next one's going to be better. The next one's going to be better. The next one's going to be better. And they're going to get somewhere. And it didn't, like the gods were great like that. I can't go the scene with the flashback and I already forgot. Demon Bull. I'm so close. It was really good, And again, Anaj, really love Anaj,
mm-hmm.
I can't stay at a full meal because I wasn't full. I did not eat enough. I'm gonna have to go to a mini meal. Like I can't in good conscience go to a snack just because I feel guilty. My ethnic ancestors are like, give this show a chance. And so, I'm gonna go to a mini meal.
So we just switched.
We
convinced each other to go the other way.
Yeah, it's the same score. We would have. It's literally the same score, and everybody changed, but yeah, it's the same score. So
I just feel like we deserve better. I mean, hell, we let they spent big money and they made the last Airbender. That was crime enough for all the Asian community. Like that should have never ever happened again. They made Crazy Rich Asians. That was good. And now you're going to put this out? Somebody did not learn their lesson. No.
I mean, we have been doing so well. Like Shang-Chi, was it amazing? No, but it was good.
I enjoyed Shang-Chi.
I enjoyed
Yeah.
Shang-Chi. I thought the relationship
It
between
was the Asian
Tony,
Black Panther movie.
it was Asian Black Panther. Right
And then
down to vibranium versus dragon scale.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
Movie.
I had these discussions in my head, but then I was like, am I racist? Because I'm trying to justify why I don't. Well, see, I really like such and such, so I can't be. And it was bothering me, but I had to go with what I felt.
you know, I think I went for what
I
graded it based on like Willow and Descendants. And I don't think that it's fair that it should be in the list with Willow and Descendants. You know what I'm saying? Like, it should have been better.
Deserve better.
It should have been better.
Disney do
You
better.
had an amazing cast. You had an Academy Award winning actress. And I know you probably made it before she was an Academy Award winning actress, but you
was
knew
still
she was
dope
good.
before then. Yeah, she was dope.
No, you should have known. You should
The
have known.
Oscar didn't make her dope. The Oscar didn't make her dope. She been
I
dope
mean,
for a long,
she
long
just,
time.
it's like
Dope since
now
she
her
was working
dopeness, she
Chris
can
Brown
charge
and
for it.
Yeah.
Now she can charge for her true dopeness.
Right.
No, I don't even think it should be on Netflix. I think it should be on HBO. Give me something dope.
It feels like
I mean, speaking of Netflix, you know, Avatar: Last Airbender has a new series coming out with live action series.
Yeah, I mean, and
on the flicks.
yeah, and what they released, what it looks like, it can.
Oh, I won't even look. I'm gonna wait until it drops because that shit is gonna be just as bad as Shadow and Bone. Randy? Why do you look confused? You didn't already forgot about what Shadow and Bone was? The Grecias.
You know he did.
Yeah, the Grisha. All right, so Chuck, what you guys say before we head out?
I hope this show does get a season 2, and that it proves us all wrong. Hopefully, it has solved time from the Asian American community and the Asian community in America, and that they can actually redeem this show. I mean, they kind of pieced together the graphic novel. Just Disney put money at it. Throw money at this show. If you're gonna lean in on the mystical parts of it, throw money into that. You know, I watched the show that was larger than life, and yet they did the small moments perfectly. I just watched the movie that did that.
So what
movie?
Publisher publishes
Spider-Verse?
Born Chinese?
Okay.
Do we know what publisher publishes American Born Chinese?
The comic book? Hold on.
Yeah, the graphic novel.
You keep talking.
Rakai, you got anything to say before we head out, sir?
No. I've said enough. I just no. Is this week over with yet? Hell. What we talk about next week? Jesus Christ.
What do you got to say before we head out, man?
I mean, do better. Just do better with our first, second books.
First, second books is the one.
That's funny.
It's what
I just do better with our ethnic heroes and heroines. They deserve just as much credit and love and heart that fucking Captain America does. You know what I mean? Iron Man does. Just do better. That's it.
First, second books. So first, second books is headed up by Mark Siegel. It's like they focus in on essays and visual essays and comic journalism.
Okay.
So next week we're doing Cathedral, at least right now, tentatively.
Citadel.
Yeah.
What did I call it? Cathedral?
Name.
I was like, the hell is Cathedral?
Let's go with the church. I was like, it's got to be one of them. Pentecost, Baptist, Cathedral, City, whatever. It's one of them.
The next season of Pentecost.
Right.
Yeah.
Did Deacon Elder.
Right. It's got to be one of
You
them.
talking about
What did he do with the offering?
BET Plus show.
What did he do with the offering plate?
Mhm. Everything directed by Tyler Perry.
Yo. Shouts out to Digital Click for providing all of our marketing needs. If you're considering marketing and promotional needs, consider Digital Click. Shouts out to Rodney, our technical director. He provides the rating system out there. He shows us that. Shouts out to Mark in the chat. We appreciate you for supporting us, and to everybody out there, the Geekish Network. We're just dope. We're dope. We got people dope in front of the camera and behind the cameras. So support us, like us, share us with your friends. Keep coming back and getting some of this greatness. Next week, as I said, we're doing the Cathedral. No, I know it's the Citadel. I'm just joking. I'm joking. At least tentatively right now, and we will talk to you guys next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Geek out and good night. You said tentative, like you want to talk after the break.
Yeah, a little bit. It's on the list.
BET Plus. Now we're doing BET Plus.